Welcome to Getcha Popcorn Ready podcast. This is a quarantine special. We at the crib with Getcha Popcorn Ready. I also still got my host with me.
T.O. right here. Yeah, we're doing the quarantine 2020 edition of Getcha Popcorn Ready podcast. This is our first one. And definitely we hope it's not the last one, but we're just going to try to continue this thing and inspire everybody and encourage everybody to stay safe, wash your hands, and stay home and stay safe.
Stay home and watch the podcast, right? You can get us on the Himalaya app or wherever you get your podcast. And don't forget to subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. Show us some love for the podcast.
And don't forget to share with your friends because sharing is caring.
Sharing is caring, dog. Yeah. So again, the draft was just over the weekend, right? So we got to catch up on the draft. I was sitting home. Saw a bunch of my young fellas as got to coach them at Nike and Elite 11 and even some from our B2G, our camps from back in the day. So I got probably see about 50 kids that I know get drafted in the draft. So that was fun. And again, I know you have a personal relationship with a lot of guys that got drafted too. So who are you rooting for that got drafted yesterday?
Well, namely, like I said, being from the great state of Alabama, where a lot of great athletes have come out of there, including myself. But again, as you said, just to understand and be from Alabama and understand what the draft means to not only to the kids that's coming out of Alabama, but just all these kids that have had dreams and aspirations and goals of making it to the National Football League. This is a dream come true for a lot of these guys. I know it was for you and I. I wouldn't say it's a dream come true because I never thought I would play beyond the collegiate level. But understanding that a lot of these kids, this is a way for them to support their families, put themselves in a financial better situation. And to your point, and to my point, being from Alabama, knowing some of the prospects. The top prospects that came out of that draft that went to the University of Alabama. You think about Henry Ruggs. You think about Tua Tagovailoa. You talk about Jerry Jeudy. There's one that nobody knows, Anthony Jennings, who's a cousin of mine. Of mine. Nice. Yeah, absolutely. These guys, and I'm sure there's probably. And I think there was a safety, Diggs. I think Trayvon Diggs from Alabama. That just shows you. The talent that comes out of there. For me, this is very, very encouraging. Just from a college university standpoint, that they're producing this type of talent and encouraging a lot of kids that want to pursue any type of professional career. This is the roadmap to take, and everybody's roadmap doesn't go through a top Division I school. You think about you and I. We went to Division I AA schools. Yeah. So that's the beauty and the exciting part of knowing and watching these guys get drafted and knowing that it's going to change their lives, for the better.
And again, speaking of small schools, our guest today, Chad Johnson, is in the building coming to the show. But he was my old college teammate. He was at Langston. Actually, with me before my senior year after I got drafted. So again, the small school thing, you don't see a lot of it now because again, it's all the hype is around amongst your Alabama, LSU, stuff like that. But then when you look up 5, 6, 8 years later, a lot of these kids that stay on NFL rosters are from small colleges, because they have, like you said, it's more of a work ethic. They didn't bloom as an 18 or 19-year-old. So they don't, they're not playing. There's a lot of kids out here in California. We call them holdbacks or double holdbacks. So when a kid is 18 and almost about to turn 19 and he's playing against other 16 and 17-year-olds, of course he's going to look like a superstar. But only over time do players like me and yourself catch them at 22 and 23 because of the work ethic that we've been instilled in. So again, it's like the draft was awesome. Takes me back a little bit, thinking about whatever, but it was fun. It was good. And then now,
definitely.
Go ahead.
No, we're definitely looking forward to bringing Chad on the show. As you said, we definitely have some similarities and some similar paths to get where we all did at one time of our lives, making it and playing in the National Football League. which is definitely something for these guys looking that just got drafted for them to look forward to, and again, be motivated, inspired to. But just think about a lot of the guys. If you don't get drafted, that shouldn't discourage you, because there's a number of undrafted guys that have been very successful in the National Football League. You think about, even now, Adam Thielen, Philip Lindsay, some of the guys that just off the top of my head, Doug Baldwin, Michael Bennett, Jason Peters, Tony Romo, Kurt Warner, James Harrison, Antonio Gates. These are all undrafted. These are a few of undrafted guys.
Pro Bowls,
that have made and have had successful careers. So anybody, you parents that will be watching, if your kid or family members, don't get discouraged if your kid or whomever doesn't get drafted. If they get their foot in the door, whether it be being drafted in one of the rounds or undrafted, they have an opportunity.
And here's another one. Again, me and you've been on this Last Dance, Michael Jordan Bulls documentary over the last couple. That's like for me watching the Super Bowl. Like I'm sitting there, like turn my phone off. Like I don't want to talk to nobody. I want to focus on this. But Scottie Pippen was a walk-on in college because, again, physically he didn't grow until he hit that 19, 20-year-old mark. And again, a lot of people are like, well, I have to be ready at 16. Like, no, you have to be working, but you're not going to be ready till later on in life.
Yep. University of Central Arkansas. Yeah, I mean, that was a growth spurt. And I was similar in Scottie in a number of ways as far as development, skill set. I didn't grow like he did, but when you think about being a late bloomer.
You grew physically, your body grew. You just didn't grow up.
Right.
You grew up. Right.
Right, exactly. But again, just the development and maturity of your body. Like I said, it may not hit when you want it to, but you can always do things to prepare when that growth spurt or that development happens, just to put yourself in the best position when an opportunity comes a knocking. And so there's a number of great examples of athletes that have made it, big time in every sport. It's just not football. It's just not basketball. There's a number of success stories, whether it be track, tennis, golf, every sport.
Yep. And that's what we have right here on Get Your Popcorn Ready. Just for this episode, T, I'm going to let you be my Scottie Pippen because I'm Michael Jordan. Coming up, Get Your Popcorn Ready podcast. Yee! Yeah, buddy. Welcome to Get Your Popcorn Ready podcast with my host, T.O. in the building.
What's up, man? Get your popcorn ready. We need to introduce this guy, but just for the sake of everybody that don't know him,
let's do it.
My friend, let us introduce you. We got this. We're introducing you.
You know what I'm saying?
My friend, my compadre, number 85. Chad.
Drum roll.
Johnson.
I like it. Number one, listen, I wish we had some type of music. We should have had some type of music like give me some smoke or something to come out to. You got to introduce me the right way.
We're gonna have some music. We're gonna have some music. Are we calling you Chad or we gonna call you Ocho today? I mean, which one is it? You change your name every 2 years. We don't know what to call you.
Listen, right now
you could be Pepe.
I could be Pepe, but right now, going into 2020, you know what? I'm just a number.
So you just 85?
Okay. And
no, not even 85. The number.
So we just refer to you as
that's
the
the
number?
whole point. Prince was just a symbol. I'm just a number. That's it. The number.
Oh, the number sign.
Yeah, the number. That's it. Period.
Like a TikTok-toe board. They're a number sign.
Like a hashtag. The hashtag. The pound on the phone. It's the pound symbol.
Pound. So you're.
Yeah.
Hey,
that's it.
If that's what you came up with for 2020, hey, I'm gonna call you.
Listen, everything else in 2020 has been in dismantle. So man, might as well just stick with it.
Yeah. I mean, hey, this coronavirus got everybody. What you been doing during the coronavirus, during this lockdown?
You know what?
Can I answer that? All he's been doing is playing video games.
Yeah.
He's been playing FIFA probably 98% of the time, or 99. Yes,
I'm doing that right now. That's what I'm doing right now.
And eating McDonald's. Ain't nothing changed.
Yeah, that's about it. My life was quarantined before quarantine became a thing.
Yeah.
And like I tell people, I told my boy Hatch right here, my host, nigga, I've been social distancing before social distancing was a thing.
That's a good one. I'm more of a people person. So it kind of affects me not being able to socialize with people in public and having to stay 6 feet away from everybody.
Right. You should be under some type of surveillance because I don't understand and know how you're able to survive right now. I think it would probably be because of your lovely kids that you have that's somewhat keeping you sane. Because as you said, you are a people person, and that's what a lot of people they know of you, and a lot of people they compare us, and they wondered how we would have even coexisted when I came over and played with the Cincinnati Bengals, thinking that our personalities would clash. But just to let everybody know, just to elaborate on you being a people person and where that came from.
You know, I think it's that something like that. As far as being a people person, it has to come from when I was younger. You know, I think anytime you always, for when I was a class clown, you know, and always wanted to be, I don't want to say the center of attention, but just always wanted to please people. And I think that nature in itself, it just stuck with me. Always wanted to talk to people and converse about really anything. And I mean, the perception on me is probably completely opposite until people have the opportunity to meet me and be like, well, God damn, you're nothing like what the media portrays you. I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty cool when you actually get to know me. We sit down and talk. And one of the things that's kind of insulting at times is, well, damn, you speak so well. What happened to the Chad from TV with the mouth full of goals? And, you know, I expected you to be a certain way. And it's like, nah, this is really me. That was more of a persona I put on, you know? And this is the real thing.
And just to add and just to piggyback, reiterate with what you just said, you are a smart guy. Just from the standpoint of you using the word converse and not saying conversate. No. And not using the word conversate. Conversate is not the correct term to use when you're saying, oh, you're talking to someone or you're speaking. Because a lot of people, they don't know. People say, oh, we were conversating. No, that's not the correct word. Term to use is converse. You're conversing with the other person. So I appreciate that. Enlighten the people that you're not just an enigmatic type of individual, very personable, fun-loving guy. You can be a pain in the butt sometimes, but you're also you're a smart guy, and that's what I liked about you. And then even like I said, playing with you that 1 year, dude, I had one of the best years, you know, that any receiver could have playing with a guy like you. And I honestly, I learned a lot from you, good and bad. But I will say, you know, I know there's been some comparisons, and we like to go back with a lot of banter of who's the better receiver, who's the faster receiver.
I'm definitely the better receiver.
I'm the better looking receiver, the better receiver, period. But this is what I tell people. You, along with Terry Glenn, and I played with the great Jerry Rice. You and Terry Glenn have the quickest feet that I have ever seen in my life.
That's a good thing.
And for people that are watching right now, when I say quick doesn't always equate to you being fast. You're quicker than you are fast. That's just me being realistic. And I know we have that banter going back and forth. I'm faster than you. We all know that. But other than that,
both of y'all slow. It don't matter.
You're not even in this conversation.
I ran faster than both of y'all, so I don't want to hear it. I'm gonna take y'all back a little bit because again, me and Chad, we go back
way back
4 years. So me and Chad was college teammates at Langston University.
Snap, I didn't know that.
I was a senior. Chad was coming from Florida, and I remember the funny thing is the jersey he got on now was orange. So it's got to be one of his favorite colors because when he stepped on campus, he had all orange on.
Oh, yeah.
And his mouth was going 100 miles an hour.
So you just shed light. You just shed light on something for me. Chad Johnson is the best receiver that came out of Langston. Thank you. You admitted it. Thank you. Chad Johnson is the best receiver that came out of Langston.
My senior year, I played. Chad redshirted, And I left, and instead of Chad staying there, Chad was going to leave Langston. He wanted to go to a JUCO and then go to a bigger school. And from there, he went to Oregon State. So he got drafted out of Oregon State, but I got drafted out of Langston. But again, going back is like we used to work out like hours upon hours. I remember one thing me and Chad used to do all the time was jump rope. And I was like, Chad, we got to have quicker feet. There was a dude there by the name of Ted Alford. And we both wanted to be like Ted Alford. He had some crazy quick feet. And we, of course, Chad was quick naturally anyway, but we would jump rope for hours. So again, that's where he got some of that good quick footwork as well.
Oh, those are memories, man. Memories.
Yeah, Langston University. So again, speaking about the draft, you guys watched the draft yesterday?
Yeah, I did. Weekend. I just want to see where the main prospects went, so I could keep up and see where they went. And it was great, some great picks, especially my boy Jerry Jeudy. I'm happy to see him. T. Higgins going to Cincinnati. Mm-hmm. Surprisingly, Henry Ruggs went first. Was the first receiver taken by the Ravens. It surprised me a lot. That 40 time and knowing the Raiders love speed, so it made sense for them to take him first. And CD Lamb to Dallas.
Yep.
For me, nice. For me, I like what you said there. I don't agree with the fact that it made sense for the Las Vegas Raiders to choose Henry Ruggs. I think this was a surprise for everybody for him to be the first receiver to be taken off the board. I think a lot of people anticipated Jerry Jeudy. I did as well. But check this out. Speaking of Vegas, I think there was a lot of people that lost a lot of money, that bet on Jerry Jeudy being the first receiver taken off the board. You got to think, that a lot of people bet on that was one of those bets that Jerry Jeudy would have been the first taken off the board, and he was second. Going to the Denver Broncos. For me, I don't understand the pick, considering, and this is not to take away from Henry Ruggs by any means, but if you think about where the Las Vegas Raiders are right now, and them moving, to Las Vegas from Oakland, them trying to build, them trying to put themselves back into the forefront of that AFC, you would think that they would go with Jerry Jeudy, who is the more experienced of the two when you think about it. When you think about those receivers, both of them played at Alabama. If you think about Henry Ruggs, he wasn't their number one receiver at Alabama. So you got to think that, general manager-wise, manager-wise, this wasn't the greatest of decisions, although Henry Ruggs is going to obviously benefit them because, the game is predicated on speed. But there's a number of guys that can run fast that doesn't translate to you becoming a great receiver. So this is what puzzled me about that pick.
When you think about the Raiders, think about what they've always wanted. They always went after speed. Jacoby Ford when he was Jacoby Ford. I'm trying to think of some other speeches that were with the Raiders.
Hayward Bay, Darius Hayward Bay.
Darius Hayward Bay. And some other speedsters. Just they've always been about speed and 40 time and opens for some reason.
Right, but to your point, you would think that especially John Gruden obviously want to put himself, his team, the organization back in the forefront. You have to do a little bit. You have to do something that's different. You can't always go with just speed. In this sense, you have to. I'm thinking go with the more experience. It's not like Jerry Jeudy is slow now. He's
not slow. He can run now. He can run. Right. He can run.
Right, and he's a more polished.
It goes back to what like Chad said, is what your organization likes to do. Because if you take any rookie receiver that has to be a number one, this year, Jerry Jeudy and CD Lamb fit that tone of a.
They're going to play. They're going to play right now.
They're going to play right now, and they can still take on number one corners and roll coverage in the NFL. I don't think Henry Ruggs is ready for that as a polished receiver, and that's the reason I wouldn't have took him number one. But to me, the Raiders, they don't see it that way. They're just thinking up over the top, big play potential, and we'll use the Jordy Nelsons of our world to kind of work underneath. But again, I don't think they have the quarterback to draft Ruggs. I don't think they have the offensive system. I think if Ruggs would have went to, let's say, the Vikings, I think he would have fit more at the Vikings than he fit at the Raiders. Because again, you got he's a speedster, but I don't think he's a polished wide receiver like Judy and like what's the other kid? CeeDee Lamb. I think they're
he has to become that guy too. He's throwing the pitch, and now he's that guy.
Right,
I like him. I like him. To whom much is given, much is required, and this is what you want. This is what you want. So we got to go in there and make it happen.
Right. So again, I think this puts a lot of pressure on Henry Ruggs. Am I saying, or are we saying that he can't become that? We don't know. No. I think this is what the draft.
We want him to. We hope he does.
Right. That's what scouting is for. That's what these individual workouts are for. Maybe there's something that they saw in these individual workouts or at the combine that pushed him over the hump or moved the needle for them to pick him over Jerry Jeudy. But when you think about route running, when you think about them doing some of the necessary things to put your team in a best position to represent Las Vegas and start off on the right foot, I'm taking Jerry Jeudy.
Okay. Let me ask you guys this. All right. So to me, the TO of the 2020 draft was Michael Pittman, and the Chad Johnson of the 2020 draft was Jerry Jeudy. Am I close? You guys, did I come close to picking these guys, comparing them to you?
Yeah, it's about right. I mean, I've been out here training with Jeudy before, so we have the same skill set somewhat. I see where the comparison comes from, especially with his ability to create separation and really not need the offensive coordinator's help to get open. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, when you look at the comparison, you think about stop and go, change of direction. That's what Chad Johnson possessed. Obviously, quickness off the line of scrimmage. That's something that I think that Jerry Jeudy is going to have to improve upon. Yeah, granted, he played a little bit of pro style offense with the University of Alabama. He's played with guys into his face, but now he's going to have to play at the professional level with guys that are at the top of their game. So I think this will be an adjustment for all receivers. But when you think about guys that are going to be looked upon to really produce for their team, these are things that they're going to have to improve upon. You think about Michael Pittman, you try to, I guess, make that comparison. I'm thinking from a physical standpoint, eyeball test. You think about big receivers, muscles,
you don't got that many muscles, dog. Don't get it twisted, homeboy.
Well, that goes into you making that comparison that Michael Pittman emulates me and Jerry Jeudy or Justin. What's the guy? Justin Jefferson of LSU being like a Chad Johnson. That got that long, wiry type of frame. But when you think about guys like Michael Pittman Jr., he's going to bring that physicality. He's going to be a guy that can play over the middle, take a lot of hits and keep it ticking.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna give you guys a name to watch for too. The kid from Penn State, KJ
Hamler.
I had him when I was at the Nike opening. I had him the whole week, and he was one of the special kids I remember coaching that year. That boy can go. And again, I think he's not going to have all the pressure on him because he's not the number one. He might be a number 3 this year, but I think he's gonna be nice. For real.
He's a gem. Hey, the Eagles and the Denver Broncos have a receiving core out this world. Drew Lock and Carson Wentz should thank management.
Yep. Talking about the Eagles, so everybody is in an uproar about the Eagles drafting Jalen Hurts because Carson Wentz is there. They paid him $100 million. Let me get you guys' take on that.
Well, number one, they've seen the last three seasons. Carson Wentz hasn't been able to complete, and so when you factor in the investment that they've made, then they can't really they can't bank on him now at this point when he's been, I guess I don't want to call him injury prone, but he's had a string of injuries that I guess for management, to say, okay, this guy may not make it through another season. They went through that when they had Nick Foles there, and fortunately for the Eagles, they had a guy like Nick Foles that was able to kind of rejuvenate his career and go in and pick up from where Carson Wentz left off when he got injured the first time. But when you think about Jalen Hurts and what he's able to bring to the table, what I like about him is, number one, he's a good kid. He's a good person. He's a God-fearing man, God first. And I think, exactly, he's a proven winner. He's done that with the University of Alabama. And then he goes over to Oklahoma and he puts them in a position to win a national championship. So, and he's been able to learn in a pro style type of offense. And when you think about character guys like Jalen Hurts, when you think about the mentality, he's an even keel guy. Nothing rattles this guy. He's able to really put himself, his team, into a situation to win. So I think they have a great addition to their quarterback position. When you think of Jalen Hurts, he will be able to learn under and behind Carson Wentz. So when his time comes, if there is, he'll be able to succeed because he did it when he was a starter at the University of Alabama, and he played behind Tua, who he got better by sitting out and sitting behind when he got hurt. He got to see what he was doing right, and he was able to correct those mistakes. When Tua went down during that season with an ankle injury, it was like a role reversal. When Tua took over in that championship game, Tua came in, won the game, and then there was a role reversal. Tua starts the season. He's a backup. They go into a championship game, and then he gets hurt, and then Jalen comes in and saves the day.
You see that too, Chad? For Jalen?
I think it was more so just a safety net for Carson Wentz. Bringing in somebody that if Carson is to go down, again this season, they have somebody that's valuable enough to be able to carry the load. He was able to do it in college, and he'll be able to do it in the pros as well. So I think they just want to get him familiar with the system, give him enough runs, especially if preseason, if we're able to have a preseason. I think we're going to see a lot of Jalen Hurts to see if he has what it takes to be able to, if need be, to take over that Eagles offense if Carson Wentz is to go down again this year.
Yeah. If you think about it, if you look at it in this situation, I ideally think about what Teddy Bridgewater did behind Drew Brees
when he went out those 5 weeks. Yeah,
right. This is a situation that Jalen Hurts is going to be in, and if he's put in a position, the fact that he's able to learn behind a guy like Carson Wentz, understand and get those reps in practice. Obviously, like I said, we don't know what the season is going to look like as far as if we're going to have a season that starts on time, if we're going to have preseason games, things of that nature, and for him to get those real live reps, he's going to be in a position like a Teddy Bridgewater that you learn from those guys, always stay mentally sharp, and when you get your opportunity, you take advantage of it to where, again, you put the pressure on management, given the fact that, I said, anything, God forbid, if anything happens to Carson Wentz, they have, like Chad say, a safety net, a great safety net in Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, because the last year he did, to Carson Wentz's fairness to him, he did play 16 games. Mm-hmm. But again, he likes to move around. He likes to run. So I think the Eagles say, you know what? Let's take some of those red zone runs, give those to a Jalen Hurts type, let him get experience one, use him kind of like the Taysom Hill, they use in New Orleans, let him get maybe 5-7 plays a game, take some hits off of Carson. And then in 2 years, when Jalen Hurts is ready to play or ready to be an NFL starter, they can go back and look at Wentz's contract and be like, yo, if you're not playing at the par, now I have confidence in a guy that we've groomed, and we'll get rid of Carson and get rid of that big contract as well. That could also be a possibility as well.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Jalen is going to put some pressure on those guys because, as you said, Hatch, he's a great character guy. This is a good kid. And this guy, again, he knows how to win. He's going to put it upon himself to put himself in the best position to be ready when that bell rings and that number is called. Trust me, I have no doubt that Jalen is going to be ready. I just know. I talk to the kid. We text constantly from time to time. He gets it, and he knows that when an opportunity like this comes about, he's going to be able to seize the moment. So again, if there's any pressure, I don't think there's a lot of pressure on
Not
Carson.
on him. It's on Carson. It ain't on him.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's going to be on him. And like I said, this may be a situation where he could be looking over his shoulder because Jalen Hurts will be ready to play.
Yeah. Yes. And again, speaking about the draft, the big elephant in the room is, according to the masses, is when Joe Burrow is going to go to your team, Chad, the Cincinnati Bengals. They're saying this. I'm not saying this. This is what they're saying. Since Burrow is going to the Bengals, that his career is over. He's going to be considered a bust because he's not going to be able to win in Cincinnati because Cincinnati can't win. What would you say to that?
I mean, we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know. I don't know how management runs that ship now. Zach Taylor, looking at the off-season additions that he's been allowed to bring in. They got Trey Waynes. Look at some of the things that they did in the draft. Mm-hmm. I think Mike Brown has unleashed some of the power in making some of those powerful decisions on who we want to bring in and be opening up the pocketbook a little bit.
Yeah.
For better words, and wanting to build a winning team and allowing Zach Taylor to flourish. So I think what people are saying, hey, it might have been the Bengals of old. I think it's a new year, and the way they're moving, it looks like they're moving in the right direction and trying to improve that franchise.
Because they did get T. Higgins as well, which I love. T. Higgins' game.
I like T.
He's trending up. His career is going to be okay. He's got to learn to use his body. But they got Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, Logan Wilson, the linebacker, another linebacker, Akeem Davis, Gaither, the Khalid Kareem from Notre Dame, and then they got the guard Hakeem from Kansas and Marcus Bailey from Purdue. So as a draft, I mean, they look good. They knew what they were doing, but they got to get wins. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They got to get wins. What was y'all record when y'all was there? The Bengals. I think it's the last time they had a record.
When me and Chad played, I think it was 7-9. I think, if not mistaken.
It was?
Yeah. Had you played a little bit better, then we probably would have.
Wow.
We probably would have played a little better.
It was Chad's fault. Y'all went 7-9, T?
Yeah. He was out there. He was out there ad-libbing. He was out there doing.
Wow. He put you out there, B.
I can't even remember, man. It was so long ago. I can't even remember.
Hey, but to just to kind of elaborate on what you were saying about this possibly kind of a setup for failure for Joe Burrows. Honestly, I think, let me address this first. This will probably help Andy Dalton, because if you think about
Andy's gone.
Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton was in the same situation as Joe Burrows is right now. Mm-hmm. He was brought in to be a starter, and again, he didn't really have anybody really to learn under. If you think about it, so in this situation, it may be a blessing in disguise, for Andy Dalton, given the fact that your elephant in the room is that this is a situation that could bode well, not bode so well for Joe Burrows, because now he's going in to be the starter, to lead this team and put the organization back on track. I granted, he had a lot of success there at LSU, but is that going to transfer? Is it going to translate at the pro level? We don't know that yet. If you look at Andy Dalton, it didn't bode well for him. So this is something that I think it will bode well for Andy Dalton, given the fact that there are some early struggles. I don't know how much slack that they're going to give Joe Burrows, and how far along they're going to give him to try to see if he's the guy for the future. But other than that, you mentioned elephant in the room. My elephant in the room in this whole draft is the Green Bay Packers and them not providing help for an aging Aaron Rodgers that still has the ability to play. They didn't provide him with any weapons to really enhance, his ability as a top quarterback right now. So that's my elephant in the room. Can you shed some light on this, Chad?
I mean, when Brett Favre, if I'm not mistaken, when Brett Favre was 35, they drafted Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is now 36, and I'm assuming they drafted his successor to learn behind him. At some point, you're going to have to move on from Aaron what I did hope, and I said it during the draft. My tweets are still there. Please draft a receiver to get Aaron Rodgers some help. And all of a sudden, I saw the Jordan Love thing go up. Listen, and Aaron said it in an interview 2 or 3 days before the draft. It'd be great to get a skilled player to get us some help offensively, but if we drafted a quarterback, you know what? That would be fine with me as well. And I know he didn't mean that, because you have to be PC and you have to be politically correct when doing certain interviews. And I know he's pissed off. He didn't get another elite offensive weapon at receiver to help them out offensively.
Well, here's the thing about what the Packers, though. So when they won the Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers, right, their receivers that year were Jordy Nelson, James Jones, Greg Jennings, Donald Driver. So, and none of those receivers were drafted in the first round.
Loaded.
So that organization doesn't think that they have to go up and get a receiver. Now, they already have Devontae Adams, who is also on the roster right now. He's not a first rounder. They like where Geronimo Allison is coming along.
Right.
So I think for them, they're just not like, we don't draft receivers at one. They're not going to reach like the Raiders reached. You know, we're happy with what we got. Now, will they try to get better here and there? And as a quarterback, do you want everything? Of course. I don't think that's how the Green Bay Packers organization was thinking about the draft yesterday. And again, the guy, Jordan Love's not coming in. They call him J-Lo now. So J-Lo's not coming in to start. Again, he's 2 years away. So they're going to look at his contract and like, yo, we love you, Aaron. But in 2 years, if you're not NFL MVP, you're probably going to be on the chopping block like every other veteran NFL player. They know that, and they're going to give Love 2 years to get ready. If he's ready at that time, they'll get rid of him.
Yeah.
Right. I think, to kind of, I guess, piggyback with what Chad said, obviously, Aaron Rodgers, I guess, saying all the right things, really not trying to create or cause any tension or friction with himself and management. But I think, obviously, it's something that was obvious with the draft that, in a situation when you have, regardless, if you say that he's aging, you don't see that in his play because Aaron Rodgers is still playing at a high level. There's not anything for me right now that shows that he's slowing down, that he's aging. So again, I think it's very discouraging for Aaron Rodgers to not, use this draft to find some receivers to complement your guy Devontae Adams. But again, maybe they see something and they saw something with the emergence of Allen Lazard, who's a receiver that made some plays, toward the end of the season. So maybe they saw this, some maturity, some develop in his game that they feel like they have enough weapons, 1 and 2, and they're going to use training camp OTAs and maybe some undrafted or some free agent receivers to groom and bring along. So it, like I said, just from an optics standpoint, the fact that they didn't draft any skilled players, that's what's concerning, I think, to a lot of people from the outside looking in. But we don't know inside out what they have and what they have assessed with Allen Lazard, who I think is a very capable receiver that made some plays down the stretch. And that experience late in the season and the playoff run that they made, maybe they see a lot in him in that 1-2 combination, and then they have the free agency market to really scout some other receivers.
Yeah, they might be out trying to trade somebody. They might be trying to get Odell. We don't know. You know what I'm saying? But
you never know.
They probably did the right thing for their organization. So, and speaking of draft day, again, a day that changed my life, changed all of our lives. We were all, even when you were at Oregon State, Chad, Oregon State was considered a small school at the time. Yeah. It wasn't in the top 5 of the pack, 10 at the time. So give me you guys' draft day story, like how it went and, who called and what was that feeling like?
Let me see.
I'll let Chad go since he's the guest.
I was in Miami. I was in Liberty City at my grandmother's house. Family, everybody was there. I never forget, everybody was outside. We had the DJ, food, the whole 9 yards. And I watched the draft in my grandmother's bedroom on the floor away from everybody so I can relax and be in peace, and watch and not hear, oh man, you go here. You know how people are on draft day.
Yeah.
And so I was in there watching that piece and having fun. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Vic went first, right? Vic went first that year.
Yep.
Wasn't it? Yeah, Vic
Number
went first.
Number one pick, yeah.
And I'm sitting there watching, enjoying it. And I'm just so happy that I'm knowing that my name is going to get called. When it was going to get called, I didn't know. But I sat there and watched that thing. And when they got to the second round, and as Mel Kiper says, like what do you call them? The best players like up next?
Best players available. Yeah.
Yeah. And my name was like 2 away, or was like up next. Dude, I started getting antsy and started getting excited.
Yeah.
I never forget. And when that phone rang,
yeah,
man, and the tear, dude, they didn't even say my name. They didn't even say my name good, and the tears just started flowing.
Yeah.
All I could think about was not just so much of getting drafted and getting my name called and then going across the ticker on that screen. I think about all the shit I put my grandma through to get to this point.
Yeah.
All the work, all the sacrifice, all the driving back and forth to school and dropping me off and getting in trouble or having to come to detention and all the referrals. And though it was just such a feeling I really can't describe. And she was the first one. When my name got called, I looked for her in front of everybody to give her that hug first.
Yeah. That's
awesome. I was like, man, we finally made it.
Right.
We finally made it.
So you were drafted in the second round. What pick were you?
36, the 6th pick of the second round.
Second round, 36 pick.
36 pick, yeah, I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, 36 second round. Yep.
What about you, Hatch? I was third round, 89th pick.
So I was the 25th receiver taken.
No, I didn't ask you all about that. Nigga, 25th. I asked you what round. I asked you what round and what pick.
25th receiver taken in the 7th round at 3:22 on April 21st, 1997. I remember
what time?
Yesterday.
You said 3:22
at 3:22 p.m. on a Sunday.
What?
You remember the time?
Right.
I remember the time.
7th round. What pick?
Pick 235, and I was the 25th receiver taken that year, right? 235 out of 240. There was only 5 picks left in the whole draft. But again, going back to what Chad said, it's when I got picked, the phone rang, and I remember it was Denny Green on the other line. And Denny Green said, "Matthew Hatchett, you ready to be a Minnesota Viking?" And again, it all came over me. It wasn't about the moment, but my mind went back to every single sprint I ran, every single bench press, every single.
Really?
I begged God to please let me just have an opportunity. And so, at that time we would go straight to a mini camp. So me and Denny Grant talked for 2 minutes. He put me on with the personnel people to get our flight together, go down to Minnesota. So we had about a 5-minute conversation. And then I remember hanging up the phone and I walked out of my apartment and I just put my hands in the air. I just started crying and thanking God, because again, it was people don't understand that moment in your life, you only get a couple of them. We're going to have a 5-second moment, but everything you've done in life is within that 5-second moment.
It's life-changing. Life-changing.
And I just lost it. I ran around the block, just thank you, God. And I was a Minnesota Viking, man. It was a day that, I'll never forget the moment of that day.
Wow. For me, I guess I wasn't as introspective as you guys were. I think I remember, like I said, I was 3rd round, 89th pick. For me, I remember one of our our linebacker coach at the time, Corey Edmonds. He basically opened up his apartment for us to watch the draft. I ideally kind of knew in the back of my head, based on talking to my agent at the time, us really assessing, what I had done as far as my individual workouts, my pro days, just where I was on the draft boards after GMs and scouts saw me at the Senior Bowl down in Mobile. I think that's where my stock draft status started to rise a bit, because they got to see me in person. They had an opportunity to assess and physically and visibly see me against all the other receivers that were down there in the Senior Bowl. guys like Amani Toomer, Mercury Hayes. These are guys, a couple of guys that were there that, like I said, I got to really kind of measure and size myself up against. And so me just sitting draft day, I didn't really think too much of it, but I knew based on those weeks of preparing and leading up to the actual draft is that 1996, it was looked upon as like the receiver draft. Like the last couple of years, it has been, you've seen that the last two years have been drafts for quarterbacks. 1996 was drafts for quarterbacks where Keyshawn Johnson was the number one pick. I had 11 to 12 guys that go before me that year. So for me, it was an opportunity because I ideally knew that I could probably go as early or late third round, but the earliest that they projected me to go would have been like late second round. That would have been great, but that didn't happen. So I had to wait through the first and second round. I wasn't one of those guys that got invited to New York to enjoy what those first and second rounders got to experience. And so after I did all my workouts and assessing everything, I thought based on the couple of picks that were left, it was Green Bay and the San Francisco 49ers. So Green Bay, I thought I was going to go to Green Bay. So Green Bay had the 88th pick. And so when they didn't announce my name, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm probably going to go in the fourth round. Little did I know, obviously, with the Niners having the 89th pick, I had no idea that I was even on their board of receivers to be drafted. But when I look back on it now, it made sense because where they were with who they had on their squad with Jerry Rice, J.J. Stoke, who was looked upon as the heir apparent to Jerry Rice. I fit that mold. I fit the prototypical type of receiver that they had been drafting and what they were looking for, especially when you look at the John Taylors, guys like that, Mike Sherrard, Nate Singleton. These are guys that were 6 feet and above. That I fit that mold.
Yeah, because going back to especially your draft, Chad, it's like the other receivers in that draft, there were some big names, but as you guys are all small school guys, like you just said, T, I'm competing with all of you. I'm not scared of none of you. You know what I'm saying? But the receiver taken in your draft, Chad, was David Terrell, played for 5 years. Corn Robinson.
Yeah.
Santana Moss, when I was at the Jets, so we brought Santana in. So we should have drafted you, but I love Santana. You know what I'm saying? But me and you could have been teammates again. Then after that was Freddie Mitchell. Reggie Wayne went number 30 first round. So that was and Quincy Morgan from Kansas State.
Went to Cleveland.
Yep. Then Robert Ferguson from Texas A&M. Chris Chambers, right, to the Dolphins in the second round.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Right. And then Steve Smith for the Carolina Panthers went third round. Then Marvin Menace. Remember Marvin? Snoop?
Yeah. Went to Kansas City.
Yeah. Snoop Menace. Milton Wynn went to the Rams. Justin McCarron to the Tennessee Titans. Cedric James. Vinny. Alex Bannister.
I remember University of Kentucky or Western Kentucky, right?
Eastern Kentucky.
Kentucky, yeah. I remember
Scotty Anderson from Grambling, little SWAC. Anome Ojo from UC Davis. Damaris McCants went to the Redskins. But again, so out of that draft, I'd say you, Steve Smith, and Reggie Wayne, out of that whole draft are probably the three out of that whole draft. Out of those 25 receivers, like you three are probably the cream of that crop of that NFL draft. That's crazy.
And that's dope.
Man. Who was your first receiver in y'all's class, T? Let me see. What year is that? 1940?
That was Keyshawn. Keyshawn, right?
Yeah.
Keyshawn's year?
Yeah.
1996?
Yeah. I think it was Alex Van Dyke. I think Mercury Hayes. What's the receiver from Penn State? That came out. You looking at the list?
Yeah, hold on. Okay.
Derek,
Terry Glenn was number 7.
Derek Mays.
Eddie Kennison was number 18. Yep. Marvin Harrison was 19.
Yep.
Eric Moulds. E. Moulds was a beast.
Yeah, he was nice.
E. Moulds, he was a beast.
Emo was nice.
And then Alec Van Dyke at the top of the second round, like you said. Amani Toomer, second round. Brian Still to the Chargers.
Yeah.
Muhammad was a second round that year. Bobby Ingram from Penn State. That's who you were talking about.
Yeah, that's it. Yep.
Derek Tate from Notre Dame.
All these guys went before me.
All of them. You. All of them. And then number 89, San Francisco 49ers.
Me, actually out of this class, only me and Marvin Harrison, the only Hall of Famers out of that class.
Yeah.
But just think about what a bust Keyshawn was.
Hey, some people thought his career was good. If you ask Key,
right? But that's the thing with really trying to really shed light on, especially some of these college kids. Going into college and coming out, if they have the opportunity to go into the pros, it's like just like the NBA, you may be projected or have a lot of potential to play well based on your collegiate career to do some of the same things at the professional level. Sometimes it just doesn't translate. You have a lot of guys with a lot of natural ability at the collegiate level. You have a lot of guys that max and reach their plateau, reach their potential at the collegiate level, and you would ideally hope for it to translate at the professional level, but sometimes it doesn't happen that way. So you think about all these guys that were really great at the collegiate level. Sometimes, again, it doesn't transfer, it doesn't translate. For example, you think about some of the great receivers that came out of Florida State. Namely, you think about Peter Warrick. What he did.
Florida State.
Right.
He played with Chad. He went to Cincinnati with Chad.
Yeah. Right. But just think about look at what he did. If you look at his collegiate career and what he did, he was able to do, not at a receiver, but even in the special teams, how he was doing. He has so many electric highlights where he made the whole team, the trainers, and everybody missed. But that didn't translate into the pros because, again, he was basically a head and shoulders and ability-wise above that competition. So it's almost like they maxed out with their potential.
Well, again, and speaking of when you develop as a player or as an athlete, right? So one of the major things going on in my life right now and in your life, T, but not in Chad's life because he doesn't watch the Last Dance. Scottie Pippen was a walk-on. And people don't realize that he wasn't ready at 17, 18. He was a walk-on, rare, 6'1", 6'2", 6'3", something like that, and then shot up after he turned 18. So again, it's like as athletes, it kind of depends on when your body matures more than how talented you are in some instances. Perfect example.
Yeah, definitely. I think looking at myself, I was a late bloomer. I don't feel like I wasn't the receiver that I became in my first 3 years based on, where they drafted me and the potential in which they drafted me for. So I had a lot of development, a lot of learning the game in order to become the receiver that I became. So, watching Chad play, when I got to see him on the field, he was definitely a more experienced receiver than I was, as we both entered into the league. So you think about, the production and how he was able to do the things that he did. It's a testament to each individual's approach to the game. If you have that desire, that which is on my shirt, desire, dedication, and discipline, to do what you've dreamed your whole entire life to do. For an example, Chad, he played here in Miami, Liberty City. Grew up in a neighborhood where it was rough, and he didn't know. He knew all he knew was how to survive, and he knew that football was his way out. That's what motivates people. For me, that wasn't my motivation. That wasn't my drive. I just wanted to be the best, receiver that I could be and live up to the expectations and the potential in which the Niners drafted me. So every kid that's out there, you're going to have your own path and journey to success. It's all about your approach and how mentally sound and prepared you are when given the opportunity. That happens for all of us.
So, Chad, let me ask you this. right? Because me and T battle about this, and I know I'm right. So, who is the best receiving core? Jerry Rice, J.J. Stokes, and Terrell Owens, or Chris Carter, Randy Moss, Jake Reed, and Matthew Hatchett? Which one?
Ooh.
Which one you gonna take?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Which one you gonna take?
That's a good one.
While you're pondering that thought, let me insert this.
No, you can't. You can't give him no more information, T.
You can't give
all the information.
That's a good one.
No.
That's all the information he needs.
While he's pondering that thought, the fact that he inserted himself amongst Jake Reed, Chris Carter, and Randy Moss, and Randy Moss. Listen, hear me out, Chad. The fact that he put himself into that combination
because I am the receiving core.
In comparison to me, JJ, and Jerry, that should automatically discount and discredit the comparison because he was not even part of that. Nobody.
How was I not part of that?
No, you were just on the team. I
was catching balls. You want to know how many yards I averaged that year? I averaged 17 yards a catch that year, dog.
Hey, Chad. Hey, Hash, check this out. It's Monday night. It's Sunday night football. Production, network. They're promoting the game.
That's not the question. That's not the question.
In comparison.
The question is for Chad.
Dude, they ain't putting up Matthew.
Question is for Chad.
Since he's part of that dynamic, since he want to put himself in that category.
Chad, tell him what's up, dog. Tell him.
Hey, listen.
They ain't promoting no game with Matthew Hatchett up there as one of the top 3 receivers.
Tell him what's up, Chad.
Hey, listen, that's a good one. That's a hard one. That's a hard one. From top to bottom, you can go either way with either team. That's a solid ass core on both sides.
Like, you got to really pick one. If you're the quarterback, which one you want?
Yeah, I'm going either one, man. Don't put me in
that. No, you got to take a
job. Yeah, exactly. No, Chad, you got to pick one.
You got to pick one, Chad. Else you got 100. Else you got 100 push-ups if you don't pick one.
I'll do 100 push-ups instead of picking.
Me, Jerry Rice, and J.J. Stokes versus.
But y'all both
Jake Reed, Chris Carter, and Randy Moss. And then
both. Phenomenal. Hey, I'll do 100 push-ups. I'll do 100 push-ups. That's a good one.
I don't like that. I don't like this because the fact that he put himself in there.
Am I not catching balls? Hey, Chad, you know what's funny? So every time I had some of my best games against the Niners, so I always send T my Niner highlights.
Oh,
that's the only highlights I got is like against the Niners.
You took the words right out of my mouth. Chad, those are the only highlights that he got. And I'm pissed off that Darnell Walker let this dude go like 80-something yards on it. Because that's the only thing he shows me.
80
from Jeff George.
Hey, Chad, you ever went 80? You ever went 80, Chad?
Oh yeah, of course.
Okay, and making sure. I'm making sure.
I don't know. I don't know if you're going 80, Chad.
Man, I have plenty highlights going 80, 50, 70, 30, 20, everything.
I'm gonna have to research that. I don't know about you going 80.
Hey, Chad, who is your nemesis? Who is your nemesis in the NFL? Like, who was that? Like, oh, this dude's giving me a problem. I can beat him, but he gives me problems as a corner.
Probably because we had to see him all the time. Probably Lee Bowden with Cleveland.
Lee Bowden, because he was
yeah.
He played with Atlanta too, right?
I'm not sure if Lee played in. I'm not sure.
First, in Cleveland.
Oh yeah, I don't really know half these guys. I didn't really keep up. Honestly, I didn't pay attention to a whole lot of guys' names unless they were like starters or what have you. It didn't matter to me. I didn't even really see. I didn't know any names. I didn't really know any numbers. It was just like whomever you put in front of me, you were subject to get beat. You about to get that work. You know what I mean?
So nobody gave you any issues, T?
No, not really. Because even when they put up clips of Terrell Reeves, they said, "Oh, these are the receivers he kept on a 35-yard, this and that and the other." I didn't score on Darrelle Revis when I was in Dallas Cowboys. I scored on a fade route or something in the left side of the corner of the end zone. It was on.
So but how many? If you went up against Revis 10 times, you only scored once. You didn't win that battle. I mean,
well, it really didn't have anything to do with me. It was based on how we.
Yes, it did. You got to score, man.
Well, it didn't have anything to do. If he's not throwing the ball to me,
that means you wasn't open.
Oh no, I was open. There was time.
Chad, he didn't want to hear that. Chad, he didn't want to hear that. Look at him.
I'm always open. The fact that with my catch radius and you throw it with my height, just like you, Hatch. I mean, if anybody's on you, and I know Chad can attest to this too. You given an opportunity, you put it in your radius, a catchable ball.
The ball, yeah.
Right, you got an opportunity. But again, like I said, if I'm trying to catch balls off the top of my shoe, behind my back, and they lead to incompletions, then that's going to factor into who I'm going up against. If it's Darrelle Revis, they're going to say, oh, well, this is what happened against Darrelle Revis. But there are plenty of times you roll the tape. I was open. I just didn't get the ball.
Oh, for sure. So let me ask you this. So again, from last night, we're watching the Last Dance, and they had a lot of it was about Rodman, right? And I agree that he's probably the best role player in any sport ever, right? He played his role to a T. Who was probably the best role player you played with, Chad?
The best role player?
Yeah, the best, like somebody who a lot of people didn't know him, right? But you needed that dude to play well in order for your offense to click or for your defense to click or something like that. Like if it's a role player, it's usually like a third receiver if you're the number one receiver, right? If it could be a third running back or something like that. But a role player is very important, obviously.
And you can't include yourself.
I'm not including myself, unfortunately.
I'm talking to Chad. You can't include yourself.
I'm trying to think.
You say he's a role player? Chad, you're the role player, huh?
I'm trying to think, man.
So just think complimentary player in a sense.
Yeah. I would probably say Henry for you guys because
I was leaning towards Chris Henry. Rest in peace. I was leaning towards Chris Henry.
Yeah, because he was y'all glue.
He made everything flow, you know.
Because again, if you take a role player out, that little, everything is just like it's a little bit off or too much of that.
Chris Henry. Damn, man, that was that guy there, man.
Yeah, because if you think about the New England Patriots, you know, who would be the Dennis Rodman equivalent? That would be his slot receivers.
Edelman.
Think about your Edelmans, your Wes Welkers. You know, these are guys, Danny Amendola. These are the guys, the hard hat guys that did the dirty work. And you do third down situations, you know, where they were dependent upon to get open when the outside was hot. You know, and if they were double teaming Gronk or took him out of the play, then these guys, they had to wear that hard hat.
Right. Did you block, Chad? Was you a good blocker?
I get in the way.
Yeah, he attempted.
I get right in the way.
T, was you a good blocker, man?
Dude, that's what made me the best complete receiver ever. That's what made me a complete receiver.
Chad, who's the best receiver ever to play in the NFL?
Probably me, honestly.
T, who's the best receiver ever to play in the NFL?
Jerry Rice, and then I'm next.
Okay. Well, hey, I know you agree. Look at Chad? Why you giving that look, Chad? Why you giving that look?
Hey, T.O. sucks, man. Fuck this shit. Hey, that's my guy, though, man. Listen, I tell people all the time. We talk about these receivers today, man, but there will never be two like that. I had the joy of being able to watch in person during their time, in their prime, was Randy and T.O., man. Being able to see that shit up close, man, people will never understand. I don't care nothing about no YouTube. I don't care nothing about no highlights. Yeah. Until you're able to see that shit in person, up close, you will never understand the greatness of those two, man.
That's what I tell T, because when you're great, you have to do something that nobody.
He's still ugly.
Oh, he's still he's greatly ugly. But when you see people who are great, that means they're probably doing something better than anybody else has ever done.
Yeah.
And again, Randy Moss adjusted to the ball in the air better than anybody I've ever seen.
I don't see how he was able to stay so relaxed. If you ever watch him, his body was always so relaxed.
Right.
Most of the time when you're running fast like that in a game scenario, the equilibrium of the body, sometimes it's off. In practice,
your eyes go like this.
Yeah, in practice, you're great because there's no pressure. But for some reason, the nerve, I don't know how to explain it right and put it in words. But something about the body is always off, running full speed in the game, trying to track the ball. And Randy was always so effing relaxed. I don't know how he did it.
Right. What you're trying to describe, he made it look very effortless, and he had a lot of body, and he had a lot of body control. A lot of guys, a lot, and just spatial awareness too. That factors into what he was able to do. Who now it's a verb, to say, you got all these kids like, oh man, you got mossed or what have you. Again, as you said, Chad, I mean, it's remarkable. It was remarkable to see from afar, and even just to watch highlights. I mean, because you put things in slow motion, and then you go out as a kid and you try to emulate these things. Sometimes you can't even really practice that, because these are things that comes instinctive and naturally, and he just had a lot of body control. And there's a lot of guys like that, but to do it with the amount of speed that he possessed, like I said, it was remarkable to watch.
And I think the other great thing, or a great thing that you had, T, was your run after the catch. We haven't seen it,
unbelievable,
and we haven't seen it before. So to me, that was your special trait. But again, there's people a lot faster than you. Obviously.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And there's people with better this or better that. But when you do something great and nobody else, it's like that's what makes you great. You know what I'm saying? So.
And then again, just to bring to things that about attributes or things that made each of us better. When you think about Chad, he had the innate ability to then again to stretch out, make difficult catches. But what sticks out in my mind is he has body control too. It wasn't necessarily going up making catches, but it was just his awareness of where he was on the football field to get his toes down and make spectacular what Nate Burleson calls toe drag swag.
Toe drag swag.
Exactly. That's again, I didn't have that because I think with my speed and my separation, I didn't need all of that toe drag swag to then get down because I was already open. So I didn't need all of that. I didn't need all that.
Open.
I didn't need to make it. I didn't need to make it look spectacular for the cameras, for them to rewind and marvel at his awareness, and his ability to put his feet down. I was already open.
This guy here.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Let me ask you this, right? If you would have played in New York or a bigger market, do you think your career or the perception of your career would be bigger?
I would say absolutely. I mean,
for sure.
I mean, he did great just to put Cincinnati to even draw eyes and an audience to the Cincinnati Bengals. Obviously, he had Carson Palmer, but again, to do what he did, and then his coaching staff and his coach to allow Chad to be Chad is what was so remarkable, and what Chad did to just the entertainment factor of playing in the National Football League. Just think had he played in actually a larger market like New York, that would have been crazy.
Yeah, it would have been crazy. I mean, what I was able to do in a small market like Cincinnati, was phenomenal. So, I mean, obviously things would have been that much greater to that magnitude being in New York or Chicago or where else can I think of? It's a big city.
Philadelphia, Dallas.
Yeah. So, I mean, it would have been cool, but everything worked out. I mean, I left my mark big time where I was. So,
yeah. And so you saying that for the what? When were you up for the Hall? 2 years ago?
Yeah, 2 years ago.
Oh, yeah. And just the fact that they haven't even really put his name in conversation is absolutely it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
I'm gonna have to wait. I understand the politics behind it, which is why I did my own my own.
Yeah, as well. Right, we were saying that on the show a couple weeks ago that on the Getcha Popcorn Ready podcast, we were saying the Hall of Fame should be voted on all players, right? Present and past, you should have a vote for all the Hall of Fame players because that would tell a whole bunch about the ups and downs of the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. I mean, I'll say this, Chad. That's very admirable to now say, oh, I'm going to have to wait. But then again, to say that, I think you're discrediting what you brought to the game, where your stats are right now. Because I say that, and I'm saying that to segue into the fact of look what Drew Pearson has done. He's waited all these years to hear his name called, and it has not. I don't know what your stats are in comparison to his. I don't know what it is, but I would have to say that your stats are better than Drew Pearson's. And Drew Pearson till today feels like he has been disrespected. They had an IG clip of him waiting for his name to be called, and he's upset about it. Till today, he's upset that they haven't put him into the Hall of Fame. So don't discredit yourself saying that you have to wait when, again, me assessing, where you are, me playing with you, and knowing the guys that have been inducted into the Hall of Fame, bro, your name should at least be on the list.
So yeah, it's one thing that I really never cared about for some reason. And then people always ask, you really care about the Hall of Fame? Well, if I did, I would have conducted myself in the Hall of Fame manner during my career. Did it really look like I cared about it? No, it's not. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, guess what? I'm going to be living a good life outside of that and do what I've been doing the entire time, not needing validation. Listen, if I do make it at some point, who knows when, man, thank goodness, because it says a lot about what I brought to the game and what I did. But it's not.
Chad, I'm going to get you in the Langston University Hall of Fame with me. How about that?
That works.
He said with him.
I like it.
But the word that you use, Chad, is validation. And I think that's what's different about you. That's what's unique about you. And right. I think when you talk about you compare or you just bring up you, and I know I did this, Drew Pearson and yourself. Drew Pearson.
You can't compare those two, T.
And I know, not really comparison, but just bringing it up into discussion. Drew Pearson is looking for the Hall of Fame to validate who he was. Right. And like I said, he played years before everybody even. I know I watched or I even knew anything about playing football or watching football. He wants the Hall of Fame to validate who he was with the Dallas Cowboys. I had no idea who he was. I still don't know who he is, to be honest. But
you played for the Cowboys. How you not know this?
But even when I played with the Cowboys, I don't think of Drew Pearson. All I knew is
you
Michael
never
Irvin.
Saw like the number 88 or the 88 jersey highlights and all that from the old days.
No, it's equivalent to men that we're talking about the Last Dance. It's equivalent to these guys that had never saw Michael Jordan, but they see and they hear his name and can. In conversation and discussion as who's the greatest player of all time. If you didn't watch or you didn't see these guys play, you don't ever know. Yeah, I may have heard him, but it was nothing about his highlights that for me that say, okay, this guy should be in the Hall of Fame. I don't know that. You can show me tape. You can show me tape all day. If that's the case, he can make a case with the guys that are in the Hall of Fame, like Steve Largent. I knew of him, but I didn't know him. I mean, Steve Largent is one of the 100 greatest receivers of all time.
Hey,
but in comparison,
he's on the. I know us three are not on the top 100 list, so we're all in the same category.
No, we're not in the same category. We're all in the same.
We're all the same, brother.
No, we're not. No, hey Chad, don't let him disrespect you. Don't let him drag you into this conversation.
He ain't in the top 100, so he with me and you, dog.
Hey Chad, dog, why you laughing so hard with that, dog?
I'm just right here. I'm right here playing FIFA, man, enjoying this pod, man.
No, that is nothing to be laughed at. I don't like the fact that he's want to put us on the same playing field. That regard, no, we're not. No, we're not. No, we're not.
Hey, we are Black individuals that
That's the only thing we have in common.
We all made it.
We made it.
We made it.
That's all that matters. We made it.
We did. Yeah, but man, I still got to say to Chad, don't discredit yourself, bro. Bro, you was a hell of a receiver, and the fact that again, you can make an argument about different guys that probably should have been in the Hall of Fame, that shouldn't be in it, that is in it.
Right.
There's a lot of question marks, but when you think about and you look at your career, bro, like I said, even if you don't make it, at least put your name in the hat to be even considered. You know what I mean? So again, don't say you gotta wait. And I understand that I'm like you. We're equal in the thought process of. For me, I never played the game to make it to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
but
me neither.
But the fact that I was being recognized because they compared my body of work with the guys that are now in the Hall of Fame, yeah, I felt like I rightfully earned a spot to obviously be nominated in the first ballot and should have been a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
But we all Get Your Popcorn Ready podcast. That's what we all on right now. I'll tell you that.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? But
yes. Speaking of the Last Dance, I know of all us guys on the screen, we know who the best basketball player is, and that's me. That's me.
Chad.
Whoa.
That's me.
Chad, can T, in your opinion, shoot the basketball?
Yes, he has a very slow release. I mean, he
very slow, right? He's not consistent, and it's not
his basketball skills are great for YMCA or gym.
Right.
That's about it.
They will not translate to real basketball. Correct.
Not at all.
Thank you. That's all I was trying to tell him too. That's what I was trying to say.
Dude, are you kidding me?
He thinks because he can dunk at the age of 55 that he can play basketball.
First of all, dunking that's part of the game. But when you talk about slow release, there's a lot of guys that were with slower releases that played in the NBA and was productive with slow.
And you're
releases.
not one of them.
Look at Steven Jackson. Steven Jackson's release is not like Ray Allen's. It's not like Steph Curry's.
But those are real play. You can't compare yourself to those guys.
What do you mean? I'm a world class athlete. Out of us three, I'm the best world class athlete on this screen. So don't disrespect.
That's a lie. That's a lie. You weren't faster than me. You couldn't jump higher than me. There's not what
dumb.
The only thing you did better than me was run after you caught the football. That's all you got on.
First of all, that makes no sense. Because if you were that much better and greater than I am, why am I in the Hall of Fame and you two bums aren't? So that speaks. I got that to support my argument.
Hey, listen, numbers don't tell the whole story. You got.
Hey,
thank you, Chad.
And guess what? Numbers never lie either. Numbers never lie.
Yes, they do.
Numbers don't.
Numbers lie all the time.
No, they don't. No, they don't.
You're 55.
You're not better than me in anything you do. You had better situations. That's it.
Thank you, Chad. Thank you, Chad. Thank you for telling him the truth. I appreciate that, brother. About time. Somebody had to say it.
Hey, that's why you two are not even on my level. That's why I'm here.
You're right. We're above you.
You guys are right. I probably could beat both of you guys together. Slow release.
In what?
In what? In
basketball.
Basketball?
Yes, absolutely.
Well, you're horrible in basketball, man.
He's horrible, B.
What you don't know, Hatch, is Marvin Lewis let us play one-on-one in front of the team, and I beat this chump. They have a basketball court at the Cincinnati Bengals.
And one-on-one, that's not basketball.
I beat him. If I'm playing one-on-one, what do you mean? It's me and you. It's mano-a-mano. Yes, I beat you in front of the team.
When was this?
When I was with the Bengals, bro. I wasn't there for 1 year. What are you talking about?
I can't remember that. I don't recall losing to you anyway.
There we go. Now he want to claim CTE. Now he want to try to establish some. Now he want to establish some groundwork to get that CTE check. Now he don't want to. Now he can't remember that. Okay, that's cool. That's cool.
You still play that?
I don't remember losing.
Do you still play basketball?
Nah, I'm all soccer, man.
All soccer.
And first of all, he never could play.
Wow. Okay, well, there it is.
He never could play.
Spoken truly like the person that thinks they can.
He can't.
I'm nice, yo.
I be telling him he only get buckets against them bums because they're scared of him. They just let him go get the ball up like that.
Hey, it doesn't matter if I'm playing with bums, if I'm playing with semi-skill, if I'm playing with skilled players. If I'm out there to win and I beat you, then so be it. It don't matter. I'm a win. I'm a hold my own. You can ask any NBA player that have seen me play, and they can just look and talk to you guys. I guarantee you, 100 out of 100, they'll pick me before they pick either one of you chumps.
Because they're lying to you.
No. They definitely not picking you over me. I know that.
I'm willing to bet everything I got on that.
Trust me.
Are you crazy?
You're trash, man.
Man, you both of you bums.
Whatever.
Man, hey, that's right. Get your popcorn ready podcast here with myself and my boy Hatch. We got our special guest Chad in the building. We talking draft. We talking basketball. We talking career. We talking Hall of Fame. We're all in the Hall of Fame of life, you know what I mean? But when you talk about one of the greatest to ever play the game, in my opinion, you got to include one of the greatest number ones that I have played with. That's Chad Ochocinco. They call him number 85. Now he's presently known as the number. The number.
I like the
hashtag. The number.
I like it.
The number. Hey, Chad, we appreciate you coming on, man. Like I said,
thank you. I appreciate you. I appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all stay healthy and eat McDonald's.
No, we're not eating McDonald's. But before we go,
I ain't eating no McDonald's.
Before we go, I do want to acknowledge your daughter who runs track. I know before all this pandemic, she's well on her way. I know that the 2020 Olympics will be in 2021 because of all of this. But I want to ask you, and I know you're her dad, and I don't want you to be biased. Can we see, or can we expect your daughter to be in the Olympics? What is it,
2024?
2024?
2024 or 2028? Can we expect your daughter? Because I know I've seen highlights of her. You've sent me video of her. She can scoot around. She can can move her feet. Hey, she got wheels. She's faster than you. No doubt that you
relax. Hey,
I'm just letting you know. Hey, be proud, man, because some of that DNA.
I'm proud, but don't faster than me. Relax.
Oh,
you know what?
At this age, I guarantee you she's faster than you. She will blow your doors off, boy.
I'm still fast as hell right now. I'm sure she's on the right track. You know, I don't want to get too ahead of myself. I don't want her to get too ahead of herself. I want to keep working and getting better at her craft. I'm learning track and what it's all about. As I go. So we'll see, man. She has that it factor that you can't teach, and we'll see what happens as time goes on. God willing, she stays healthy. We'll be there.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I just wanted to throw that in there because, again, like I said, I've been around you. I've been around her. I haven't seen any of her track meets, but I know you've been a father now. Like I said, being out of the game, you've always devoted yourself to your kids, your family, even when you were playing. But now, like I said, being away from the game, being there to support her. I know we both share a similar past with our grandmothers raising us, our dads not being around. So I appreciate what you're doing just to show the world, number one, who you are. Not that you have to prove who you are. That's who you've always been. But in support of your daughter, again, like I said, I know I'm proud of her just watching and seeing her development, her maturation process. And then, like I said, the Olympics, that's one of the greatest things, in our country. And for, people that grow up wanting to play sports. But again, when you are able or put in a position to represent your country, that's bigger than football.
Oh yeah. It's gonna happen one day. It's gonna happen.
There you go.
No doubt. Yeah. So we appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you, brother. Love you, man.
All right, baby.
All right,
I'm gonna
man.
catch y'all, man.
Get your Popcorn Ready podcast with my boy Chad Ochocinco Johnson, better known as the hashtag #, pound sign.
The number.
All right, man. Y'all be easy.
Hey, man, go eat some broccoli or some veggies or something, man.
God, please.
All right, boy.
So we just had our we just had our guest, Chad Ochocinco. Thank you, brother, for coming on. I'm sorry, he's a number sign now. He gave us the information.
Oh
right?
yeah. The number. We appreciate the number coming on board. We just got really brought up to speed as far as who he is now. He's no longer. So now he should be formally known as Ochocinco.
Yes.
Pepe. Names that I know him from. But now he is currently wanting to be referred to as the number. So we appreciate the number for coming on and enlightening us about what he's doing during this time of quarantine, social distancing. I know for sure it's two things that he was doing, and I got that right off the bat. Number one, he's eating McDonald's, and number two,
playing that video game.
He's playing soccer. He's playing FIFA.
Playing that FIFA. I know we always have our 3 and out segment, and I want a couple things I took away from the interview with Chad.
Before you do that, explain to people what the 3 and out is, so they can. So we just throwing out 3 and out. Explain to them explain to them at the end of the show. We always have a 3 and out segment. Explain to our audience what the 3 and out is.
Yep. So basically, that's our 3 points of view that we take away that we think that had some importance to the interview, or kind of moved us a little bit in the interview. And I know number one for me, especially talking to you, of course, we always talk that Hall of Fame talk, and it was his perspective on the Hall of Fame, because he was just saying, like, I got numbers, and you even backed him up. He was a dude, Pro Bowlers, all pro, has all these numbers in order to be a Hall of Famer, but he's just like, his perspective is, I validate myself. Like, I know I was good. I did my thing, and it doesn't matter if he doesn't ever go to the Hall. But he's happy with his whole career and how it went, and I admire that. I'm very admirative of that.
Yeah, and to your point, I mean, he's checked those boxes. When you talk about, you think about the criteria and which guys are, initially they're nominated, then he's checked those boxes. He's a great character guy, a team guy. Everything that you would want in a receiver to play at the level that he played. I mean, I think 10 plus years or what have you. The numbers, like I said, the numbers are there.
Yeah. And again, speaking of what he was saying about his teammates, my second thing was talking about role players. Like who did you think that was one of a great role player? Because we were comparing it to the Dennis Rodman and the late Chris Henry, who had passed away. And he feels that Chris, was the glue to that receiving core of him, TJ Hushmanzada, and Chris Henry. Right. You're number 3, like myself was. Like I said, you need the whole core. You can't do it by yourself, obviously. And even you went from a 3 to a 2 to a 1. You've seen the whole gamut of a receiving core. So, again, for him to really point that out and understand what Chris was doing for him in his career, it's like, it's very appreciative for him to say that.
Yeah, I mean, just to, again, segue or elaborate on the point of, not being able to do it by yourself. I mean, there's only like a couple of guys that can do it by themselves. Maybe 2 or 3 other guys. That's me, Michael Jordan. You think about Kobe. Wait.
T.O. time out. You can't.
What are you talking about?
You can't.
Dude, what are you? There are guys.
You can't do it by yourself in football, and you're not playing basketball, and you're not MJ or Kobe. So throw that out. Just go. You come back to us.
No. First of all, in order to be, like you said, considered that dude or that dude to be able to do it by yourself. Again, you heard Michael Jordan. You heard the philosophy in which Phil Jackson addressed, but indirectly
the triangle offense is when they won championships.
Exactly. But you heard what he said. He had the ability to do it, but to enhance and make his other teammates better. That's when the triangle offense was implemented. But to your point, when you talk about game changers, guys that have the ability to do it by themselves,
you can't do it by yourself, Scottie Pippen. You can't do it.
That's Kobe. That's MJ. Yeah, of course, as a receiver, we can't do it by ourselves because we can't actually throw the ball and catch it. If anybody has the ability to do it, that would be me. If anybody could do it, I'm going to be able to throw the ball and catch it and do what I do with it. So back to our 3 and out, because ain't nobody listening to me. You've done your 2.
I've done my 2. I can't
You've
talk.
done your 2.
I'm out.
You've done
I'm
your
out.
2
I'm
out of the 3. So let me go into what I thought, the third part of this 3 and out, what I took away from it. And this is a credit to you, because initially starting out, I learned that you and Chad at one point, y'all went to Langston.
Yeah.
Maybe it was for a short stint of time. And then Chad, before he went to Oregon State, he was at Santa Monica College.
Yeah.
So, and then he went to Oregon State. Obviously, he got drafted. So that's one of those things for a lot of kids out there. You understand the success of people. You don't really know the path that they've taken to reach the level of success. And for Chad, me knowing him personally, and like I said, you can read up on Chad. He didn't have, the yellow brick road. You know what I mean? He didn't have that yellow brick road. I mean, he had some bumps in the road here and there where he bounced around, but ultimately he got it together. He had some coaches and guys in his life to steer him in the right direction. And again, we ultimately ended up, we all did, in the National Football League. And so that's what I took away from part of the interview, is that he didn't necessarily, again, have that yellow brick road to the National Football League. And so going from Langston, I mean, that's sometimes kids get lost.
There. You came out there with me. You've been there. You see what it was.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, that should give people, kids, parents, uncles, aunts, some encouragement that, no matter where you go and how you get there, as long as you get there, that's all that matters.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, we've been saying this pretty much our whole show. We have people on, and we're all small school players or all small time players. So again, it's possible. It's all possible. Just got to keep the dream alive and keep your head down and keep working, man. So right. Hey, that's what we do on Get Your Popcorn Ready podcast. That's what we do. We inspire people to be better than what they are right now. So again, during this quarantine time, the coronavirus, COVID-19 thing that we're going through, again, stay home and go ahead and subscribe to the podcast. We'll try to keep you entertained. And again, just show us some love. Hit that subscribe button. And we'll see y'all next week. Yeah.
Yep. Get your popcorn ready. And don't forget to subscribe to the Himalaya app or wherever you get your podcast, people. Share, subscribe, show us some love. Get Your Popcorn Ready podcast with T.O. and Hatch.